Hi, everyone. Hi, if I can have your attention. I know we're all excited, reminiscing and seeing each other. That's one of the great things about camp, that we see people we probably haven't seen in 10, 20 years, and we can pick back up where we left off. Just to introduce myself, my name is Mary Ellen Dance. I have been associated with Camp Quarry for the past several years as a mental health consultant here. And as we all know, since we are all here for it, we see the magic of Camp Quarry. So thank you all for coming here tonight. I have a few things that I want to let us know about. I'm not going to say the A word because we don't need to break into song just yet. But we are going to be doing a few awards tonight. We have a few people that want to speak, to say thank you, to share new things going on with Camp Quarry. If you need extra food, please go up and get it. If you need drinks, the bar is still open. We just ask that you be discreet, like when you tried to sneak out of your cabin to see the person you were dating at the time. Just be that type of discreet if you can. So we are actually going to start off this night with a short little video. So we'll start that now.
In the dining hall, there's a picture of honor tent, and it just kind of made me think that when camp was first getting started, they didn't have cabins and they were sleeping in tents, and it's changed a lot.
My sister sailed on a couple OKs actually. She's that old, and yeah, my dad told me about it. He has a picture with the original Blazing Peaks.
I like sailing on the K-boats because it's kind of a tradition here in Camp Quarry. They've been here for a very long time.
Dad always tells me these old stories, like taking out old boats and like getting thrown off and stuff. And I'm just wondering, like, has camp changed much since then?
It's not the boats. It's not the location. I believe the best part about Camp Quarry is the people you meet here. I think they all create this electric, like magical atmosphere that can be found nowhere else.
My counselors, they kind of made me feel more comfortable with just being myself and not being afraid of how other people judge me or view me, because they always were themselves.
I felt a little changed every year that I came home from camp. I think it made me, 95% who I am today.
It taught me to be independent. It's taught me how to be a leader.
Camp Cory has made me a better person all around. It has given me social skills, be able to interact with people I don't know.
It's a place where you can have fun, be yourself. Nobody will judge you for being you.
Everybody around me is just so supportive, and this is like my second home.
The people you meet here, they're definitely some like none other that you will ever meet anywhere else.
And then you just kind of bond together. You don't really forget those times.
I think at the core, it's still the same place. Like, we still just love to have fun and do crazy things that we wouldn't be able to do anywhere else. I think camp is just a place where we can all kind of escape from the outside world.
So I think that we all can agree that Camp Quarry is a very special place, and hopefully we are able to feel that specialness here this weekend and maybe kind of reliving the days that we were here. And so to start off tonight, I would like to invite Sarah Reeler up to the stage. Sarah Reeler is is a member of the Dedications Committee. So thank you for being here, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. So I have, it's truly been an honor, and I have had a blast working on the Dedications work stream. And so I am here to talk a little bit about the Spirit of Cory Award. And I am supposed to have a visual. Hold on. Let me get that out. Aaron, Randy.
I think it's in the front.
I don't.
It's right.
Is it?
Sarah, it's missing. It's gone.
The
It's gone. It's been sabotaged.
The Spirit of Cory Award.
Yeah. I did find this note, though. Hi, everyone. So
guys.
awkward moment. I do have a note that says something a little specific about this award. So it says, I believe there's a slide that also has it on, but I don't know. Let's see. It says, I have sabotaged the spirit of Cory. You must solve my clues in order to bring it back together. Signed, the Purple Mongoose. That's a little suspicious. And also, along with that, I have a clue.
Oh, good. There's already a clue.
Yeah, there's already a clue.
Oh, thank God.
So at least they were considerate.
Okay.
So, it says, I might need some little help from the audience from this one. It says, peanut butter, crunch, 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 comes from a place where there's a mighty fine bunch, and up above, in print in yellow, there's a sign that says blank. Does anyone know? What was that? And all the way in the back. I heard it.
Okay, why don't you go try to find this?
I'll go check.
I'm gonna give it back to you.
Okay. Sarah can sit down. Aaron, you promised there wasn't going to be any tomfoolery tonight, so I don't know what you planned here, but let's just keep the show going. And so, Aaron, since you probably are behind this, how about you come up here? Aaron Porietti is the co-chair of the Alumni Committee and was the co-chair of this committee.
All right. Yeah, let's keep the show going, shall we? Excited to be here. On behalf of Randy Stern, who is the other co-chair of the 100th anniversary celebration, I just want to welcome everyone. I hope you had a great time this week. And thank you for coming. We didn't know what to expect, and we got far more than we thought we would get, so this is really exciting. It was about 2 years ago, before the pandemic, when Pat Foster reached out and said, hey, would you help plan this thing? And immediately, from day one, we recognized the importance of this celebration here today. We hope that you found this to be a successful execution of the 100th celebration. I can't see my notes because I'm old, and I'm growing older every day. So the celebration was intended not to be an alumni reunion, and I'm so excited to see so many other parts of the Camp Cory community out and present today. That's from family members of alumni, board members, the Y community, the local Penn Yan community. Thank you for coming out. It's really exciting. We had a lot of people that helped make this possible, and at the risk of not recognizing one of the volunteers who helped make this possible, I'm not going to recognize anyone. Instead, I'm going to list the accomplishments that we pulled off, and just know that it was not me, it was not Randy, it was a team of volunteers that pulled this off. So, and staff, too. It was a team of volunteers and staff that pulled this off. The staff this week was incredible in getting this grounds ready for this. Yeah. So, hopefully you got a chance to visit the exhibit hall. It was volunteers that made all of that possible, researching the exhibit history and the rich history of Camp Cory. Volunteers over the past 2 years showed up on dozens of Zoom meetings, and what they did there was share their experiences, their thoughts, their ideas, their opinions, and we gathered all of those and course-corrected along the way. It was so important to us to not to listen to the voice of the Camp Cory community in developing this. The volunteers helped display all of what's going on through our social media presence, so thank you to all of those who were part of that. They helped us develop the full flow of the programming that you went through yesterday and today and hopefully into tomorrow. A few of the huge lifts, heavy lifts there were the pop-up art sale that hopefully you had a chance to visit, all of the tours that were put together, the K-boat rides that you got to experience, the dedication wall that I hope you got to visit in Junior Boathouse, and if you haven't visited that yet, at the fireworks, go sign your name and thank someone for your time at Camp Cory. Erecting this beautiful tent, this was a big, heavy lift as well, and I don't think we've ever had a tent in this place. Setting up all of the gear in the gear store and making sure that you had the option to purchase something there. Creating the condition of these beautiful grounds. We had a to-do list of about 200 things just a couple days ago, and for the most part, all of that was checked off, so it was beautiful. Yeah. We made, and I don't know who won, but we made an alumni regatta possible today. Do we have an announcement of the winner? Which one?
They were on the same boat.
All right. I've just learned that the winner of the Alumni Regatta was Chris and Dave Reynolds. Congratulations! All right. And perhaps, you know, and something to look forward to is volunteers played a big part in designing tomorrow's non-denominational chapel service that I hope many of you will attend with us in the morning. So, the other thing is we had a lot of advisors along the way. Like I said, a lot of people with a lot of opinions, and I must admit they were smarter than us at every step along the way. So thank you for everyone who weighed in and contributed. That was really valuable. And I should mention that this event is being live streamed on Vimeo, so I see you out there. Where's the camera? I see you out there. Thank you for attending. And during the pandemic, you know, 2+ years ago, in addition to planning this event, we had the opportunity to start to form a close, high-functioning alumni association that was completely volunteer-led, and it's been quite some time since Camp Cory had a volunteer-led alumni association. It's gaining momentum every single meeting, and we're really excited to be part of it. So this group hasn't existed for a long time. We hope it's only the beginning of our momentum. And similarly, we hope that all of you who are out there reconnecting with long-lost friends and recapturing the magic of Camp Cory, that for you, this is not the end. It's not a stopping point, but it's the beginning of reconnecting and being part of the Camp Cory community. So we hope that our efforts to bring an alumni association together are just getting started, and they're growing stronger every day, and our goal is to preserve the legacy of Camp Cory and carry the spirit of Cory forward. So thank you for coming. It's pretty awesome.
Found it.
All right.
So I found the clue. You guys were right. Help the other fellow. So we're going to attach it right now. Okay, it looks beautiful. And also they were kind enough to leave another note. So this is the next clue. Some of you guys might like this one. It says, migrant may feel like their own civilization come down to the place of today's dedication. And three, perfect.
I truly cannot tell you how many clues there will be. Again, Aaron promised me none of this tonight, so we'll see what Evan comes back with. But next, I would like to introduce Pat Foster. Pat Foster is currently the executive director of Camp Cory, but he has also had a strong history with the camp, so most of you may know him. So welcome, Pat Foster.
Thank you, everybody. I assure you I don't deserve that, but... So, first and foremost, from the bottom of my heart, and those of you who know me know that this place means so much to me, and to see everybody here today is just a fantastic experience, and just something that I feel very, very privileged to be here today with all of you. And there's just so much to camp and how much it means to us. And you know, one thing that I have really gotten to see over the years is that camp is the same story over and over again with different characters. And that one thing about camp is that one generation teaches the next. Everybody looks up to the sailing master who is, you know, teaching them everything about, you know, what they need to know about everything, and village heads and counselors. And those campers become the counselors, and you know, they move forward. And it's just a fantastic experience to see when staff members become alumni, and when I get to experience something like this. And, you know, those of you know me, I was a camper at this camp for many, many years. And the staff that were there made this camp what it is. And I feel so lucky to be here to see all of you at this place and celebrating 100 years at this camp. And I can't thank everybody enough for this wonderful experience. And I hope that all of you be able to, you know, reconnect with this place and find a way to continue to stay with this camp for such a long time. So thank you again, and I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you so much, Pat. The first time I met Pat, he told me a story. He doesn't know I'm about to say this, so this might be really uncomfortable. But he told me a story about how when he was a camper and he literally physically collided with Michelle, who was the director at the time. And I'm like, you're who I'm supposed to be listening to? All right, so as we move on, it looks like Evan's not coming back with another clue, which is great, because we have a lot to do tonight.
I got dedication. Woo! Okay, so the next clue is a place to lounge when you were staff, now is home to arts and crafts. It's literally right behind me. I'll be right back.
All right. So while Evan comes back, just a reminder, we do have a lot to do tonight. We do have some awards that we're going to be giving away in a minute. So if you need food, the buffet is still out. The bar is still open. Again, please be discreet. Who knows if Evan will come back. But it's really a testament to Camp Cory, the amount of people that are here tonight, the amount of people that wanted to be here tonight, the amount of people that are here on a live stream. Like Pat mentioned, Camp Cory is a similar story with different players every single time. And the reason that it has the opportunity to be that similar story with different players is because of all of us who started at Camp Cory and who started the traditions and started the norms here at Camp Cory. So we're so thankful for all of you who really built Camp Cory for us.
I got the last clue and it's service.
Sarah, does this mean you can now give the award?
Perfect, you can take on over. The hard work is done. See you later.
Okay. We couldn't do this without some sort of EP, something incorporated. So like I said, it was really an honor to work with the dedications team to come up with the Spirit of Cory Award. And, you know, we had come up with this phrase, and then it was actually pointed out to us. Aaron Porietti had actually found that the Spirit of Cory was something mentioned in a culminary when talking about those recipients that received the Sons of Cory Award. So it really is fitting tonight. And, you know, the strongest shape is the triangle. It's the shape used to build the roofs over our bunks, the buildings we eat and play in, and the bridges we have crossed to make our way here each summer. Just like the three sides of a triangle, this camp and the people who have worked here embody characteristics that keep its structure sound. The Spirit of Cory is awarded to current or former individuals involved with the camp, whose presence personifies this spirit in three ways. First, it's the initiative to help the other fellow. Thank goodness Evan found all of these initiatives. Second is service in creating and strengthening the spaces where we live, work, and play. And third, dedication to carrying the spirit of Cory forward. Whether it's compassion, a distraction, direction, or a joke, these individuals instinctively know what campers and staff need seconds before they even know they needed it. And the values of Camp Cory aren't something these individuals live by. The values of Camp Cory are the essence of who they are as people. And tonight we are so delighted to present the Spirit of Cory Award. And I think there's a video we're rolling for the first recipient.
In the late 80s, there was one camper who just always seemed to be around. First coming to camp in 1988, Mark Dibble quickly became synonymous with summers on Cuckoo Lake. And then, to camp's benefit, he just refused to leave. From the time he became a permanent fixture in M4, Mark's love and dedication to Cory was obvious. And around the country, there are countless young adults who can point to Mark as the guy that taught them to swim, or sail, or find an affinity for the back catalog of Bob Dylan. Through 2011, Dibble excelled in just about every role on these grounds. From migrant village head to camp director, Mark served Camp Cory as a consistent role model of friendship, pragmatism, and service. In the 23 years the youngest Dibble spent at Cory, his dedication provided for possibly the greatest singular impact, not only on thousands of campers, but on the character and expectations for Cory's staff. Presenting the award, co-chairs of the Dibble Fan Club, Bo Shoemaker and Aaron Weaver.
Yeah, she said the wooden one. We'll be there in the frame. We are.
We know it. We feel that too.
I don't see us yet.
Okay.
Who are
There we
we?
go. Is that what it looks like?
Yeah. Just look at.
I gotta live with it now.
We worked for Mark. He was our direct supervisor. We were, among other things, program directors together when he was the camp director. And what is there to say about Mark? Working for Mark is the story of becoming incompetent jerks to becoming competent jerks.
This is Bo Shoemaker. I'm Aaron Weaver. It's a privilege to be up here. I also want to start by saying that I had the very immense privilege of having Mark Dibble be my supervisor and mentor, Halo 3 squad mate, very, very formidable Halo 3 squad mate. That's a video game. And friend for many years, and that's meant a great deal to me. And I could talk, I think, for a long time about the various things that make Mark special to me and in general, and what makes him exceptional, but I don't have a lot of time. So I just want to call out two traits of Mark's that I think make him particularly effective in the work that he's done and special. The first of which is the way that Mark is able to approach every situation he encounters or problem to solve by playing this impressive game of 3D chess, where he sees beyond the boundaries of how anybody else would define the job or define the problem, and really, really, truly thinks outside the box and finds new ways to even define what the job is to begin with. And I've tried to internalize and emulate that to some extent, but I think it's a pale comparison to what Mark can do. And secondly, it's this very innate interest and knack for developing the people around him, developing the staff members around him, where he will see a potential for growth in people. I feel a little bit like he saw a potential in me personally when I didn't see that. And feel like other people besides him didn't, and I'm eternally grateful for that. And I think that he has made the people around him richer and more effective and complete as part of what he can do.
That development is long-term, but every once in a while you could kind of feel it happening as he was supervising you, and it was just something else to feel like, oh, Mark, this interaction with Mark is actually developing me as a person. His leadership lessons were like a philosophy class, and I mean that in a very good way. They were not for the faint of brain. Some of the subjects of his lessons during Central Staff training included groupthink. He had us analyze a quote, "Beautiful view, but is there one for the enlisted man?" And he did listen first training, for which I believe he won an award from the YMCA. And these are all things that essentially got us to not just be camp counselors, not just be camp program directors, but to essentially be what he was, which is essentially a philosopher at a camp, being introspective, always considering what we were doing and the meaning behind it. He drove us forward when it was called for, and he maintained our traditions when that was called for. Did you have anything else to add?
There's a lot more that I think we could say, but in the interest of time, we probably should move things along.
We are very pleased to give this award to Mark Dibble. We need a picture. To him?
With the camera. With the camera.
I will. Thank you. This is wonderful, and I apologize. I'm a little emotional. Aaron made me promise to keep this under 5 minutes, but I don't work here anymore, so I'm going to talk for as long as I want, and I'm going to get R-rated up here, so I hope you're all ready. No, I'm just kidding, obviously. It's bizarre to me that this camp is giving something back to me when all this camp has done is given to me. Just momentous things in my life, from my beautiful wife, my less attractive wife who couldn't make it tonight. I know, I'm sorry. My beautiful kids, my job, I work for the YMCA, and you know, watching the video at the beginning, listening to the kids talk, it's exactly how I felt. And I'm not going to tell you my whole life story, but I will tell you that when I was a kid, I was a very, very sick child. I could not stay out of the hospital. I spent most of my life in the ER just vomiting because I was really sick. I had the type of food allergies that are a little bit more common today, but just to give you a sense, dairy, wheat, soy, legumes would all send me into anaphylactic shock. So my parents couldn't keep me alive. And finally, my mom, who's ever patient over here, took me, and I lived at the National Institute of Health for about 6 months while they did tests on me, trying to figure out how to keep me alive. And when I was old enough, they wanted to send me to a summer camp, and every camp was like, no, we are going to kill you. But not Camp Cory, not Jerry and Liz, and not the Rochester YMCA. They took me in, and I thrived from them. From then on, you know, I was. We didn't know you were so fragile. I was very fragile, and I had, you know, and it wasn't just that. I had very bad asthma. I was overweight. I was basically Piggy from Lord of the Flies. But I came to camp and I fit in and I thrived here. And straight from that to my career today, there's a direct line. And my kids, I wouldn't have my kids. And I'm just so grateful for all of that. I'm so grateful for this place. I'm so grateful for everything that it gave me. I think about, George, I don't know if you remember this. There was something on the Spirit of Rochester when I was a little kid. It was an annual meeting maybe. But George had me and my brothers go and talk about what the Y had done for us. There's still a picture in my parents' house. I was, I think, maybe 6 or 7 or 8 years old. And I just remember I thought about what I wanted to say ahead of time. I wrote it down, and then I kept practicing it with my parents saying, you know, this is what the Y has meant to me. And my mom and dad, they would kind of cut me off and say, stop, slower, talk slower, stop saying stop saying ah, and just coaching me over and over and over again. So I think about that moment because the two biggest influence on my life are this place and my parents, and it was kind of a confluence of the two of them. And my life wouldn't be what it was without it. And so I'm meandering, but I do want to say this. It's because of that and talking to my brothers and their wives and my one and only wife, that they feel the same way about this place, and they feel obviously the same way about my parents and the influence that this has all had on us. And they very generously agreed that as a family, we're going to give the money to name a cabin in honor of our parents for everything they've done here. So, Mom and Dad, we love you. We love you guys, and two small things just to finish up. One, I know there's other alumni out there who can do the same thing, and if this place meant half as much to you as it did to us, please go see Pat or Andy or George. He'd be happy to take your money, any one of them. Please go see them and see what you can do about finding a way to give back. That's the first thing, and the second thing is, you know, we're going to start sending my son to overnight camp here next year, and if my name's on a cabin, he better get a good placement, Pat. Thank you.
So, Mark, I didn't hear what village you want this cabin to be in. I feel like we can maybe make that happen.
We're in negotiations.
All right. That's fair. Thank you so much, Mark, and the entire Dibble family for everything you have done for Camp Cory and continue to do for Camp Cory. We have another video to announce the second winner of the Spirit of Cory Award.
In 1998, Michelle Rowcliffe came to Camp Cory with impossible shoes to fill. But she was the natural and steadfast leader that Cory needed, quickly gaining the trust, friendship, and respect of both staff and parents. Through 2019, Michelle's steady leadership transformed the grounds surrounding us. Her accomplishments include a 7-acre expansion to the property, which helped transform day camp into a summer-long program, providing the Cory experience to exponentially more children. Though her leadership saw tremendous changes, Michelle was dedicated to a process that preserved the fundamental ideals and conventions of Cory, putting her faith in and mentoring countless young leaders, including Cory's current executive director, Pat Foster. For this and so much more, Camp Cory is forever in her debt. Presenting and accepting this award on her behalf, please welcome Wendy Parisi.
Dibble is a tough act to follow, just for the record. I am Wendy Parisi. I was a camper in the early 80s, in the late 80s and early 90s. I moved back to the Rochester area in 2007, and I had the pleasure of meeting Michelle at an alumni event, a holiday event. And, you know, I think Aaron Peretti said earlier this weekend that camp is the place of, would you say, misfit toys? And so coming back to an alumni event, I was a little bit intimidated because who was I? You know, I was a camper here for a few years and a staff member. And Michelle had this way about her of welcoming folks, and she invited me down to the property. She said, "You can stay there." And I said, "I can stay there." You know, she said, "Yeah, she could. We have this beautiful alumni cabin. Did you guys know this? We have this beautiful alumni cabin." And that was Michelle. She had been here for about 10 years at that point, and she continued to be the backbone of the work that was done here. And when you look around at the property today, you see Michelle. The expansions and the capital work that was done, and the leadership that followed her continues to bring that together. So it's just a distinct pleasure to accept this award on her behalf. So I'm going to switch from presenter to award receiver here, because Michelle could not join us tonight, but I know she is here watching us on video, so I hope I do her justice. But before I do that, I am told that I didn't work for Michelle, so I asked some of her employees how they felt about her, and they sung her praises, but they also said it was not unusual to see her out mowing lawns or doing whatever needed to be done. And partially that was just because of the leader she was, but also because of her attention to detail. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the service part of this award is upside down. So I'm gonna fix it, and then I'm gonna come back and accept the award on her behalf. It's camp. It's all right. All right. So Michelle did give me a few words to accept this award on her behalf. And, you know, the first thing she said, that this was not a job for her or her family. It was a lifestyle. The three of them, herself, her husband Sean, and her daughter Olivia, who was probably an infant when they joined Camp Cory, were all in. She couldn't think of a better way for Olivia to grow up and watch her parents work and make thousands of relationships. She was so proud of this place at the end. She can't say that for the first 10 years. She said it was so much to do. There was literally blood, sweat, and tears. But ultimately, as you can see, everything blossomed. Her old boss, Buddy Campbell, said, fill the beds and everything else will fall into place, and that happened. She did everything she could to fill those beds, an improved program, and then they started to have the capital to do the projects they needed to do to be a premier camp in the Finger Lakes. And the role I am now, I see reputable camps all summer long. Michelle works for the American Camping Association, is that correct? Yes. I can honestly say Cory has the program and culture that is top-notch. The things I miss most are the relationships I've made over the 20-plus years, the kids that have become adults, the staff, and then the kids that come from the staff, and around it goes. Just thank you for this award. So thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle, for joining us here over video and in spirit, and thank you, Wendy, for accepting that award. I think, and I don't know if this was Michelle's words or Wendy's words, but saying that Camp Cory is more of a lifestyle than anything else is so, so true. And so we will continue to award that lifestyle with our next award recipient.
Lose your bathing suit? Need a hug? Wet the bed? You could always turn to Liz. No money in your store account? No problem. Another tiny cup of orange soda pop? Sorry, you've had your fill. Treating thousands of campers as her own, Liz made us feel safe and loved during our time away from home. Through store accounts, she taught us about budgeting, Otis Spunkmeyer cookies, and charity. Liz has described camp as the great equalizer. No matter where you come from, Cory is a safe haven. This is an idea she instilled, and it still rings true. Today's staff might not know Liz, but her lessons have been passed down to them through generations of Cory staff. Presenting the award, please welcome Christopher Albrecht.
This is a beautiful evening. My gosh, what a wonderful day. This is absolutely beautiful and just a great gathering tonight. It's my honor to present one of this year's 4 Camp Cory Spirit Awards, and camp has morphed over the years. My memories don't exactly match the activities of the campers of today. For sure, Camp Cory is in competition with a world of fads and sports. And that's a challenge to decide for so many children and adolescents and families. When I started camp in 1979 at age 6, what did my parents actually pay for? I fished with a stick torn off a tree with a piece of bread wad on a hook, played flicker ball, shot archery, sometimes into junior camp, dragged mattresses outside, slept under stars. List goes on and on. But the bottom line is all these things can be done at home. So why did my parents send me to camp? Why come to Camp Cory? It's a good question. Many of my greatest memories as a kid, those that became formative as my life as a teacher, a husband, a father, the person I am today, stem from, just like Mark said, my parents and Camp Cory. The weeks of each summer represent only a fraction of my 50 years on this earth, but they are so much a part of the man I am now. I laughed and lived with cabin mates, counselors. It was simple joy, a lot of weirdness. I froze at Polar Bear. I coveted spray-painted gold rocks. Played some made-up water games with a greased watermelon. All of it was so darn simple. The games have changed too, but at its core, there is something endearing that remains about our beloved Camp Cory that I've heard a lot of other people speak about, and that's the personal relationships that we form here. Then, now, and forever. Moving forward, personal relationships will be the cornerstone of our wonderful Camp Cory. In a world of excess and sometimes greed and selfish outlooks, having less with a focus on the unconditional glue of positive human interaction will and shall be the path for our Camp Cory. It's my honor to present this Spirit Award to an amazing example of what I have forementioned. She is the purest example of dedication to other people. She exudes our motto of help the other fellow. What is it like to be married to a superhero? Ask Jerry. It's about time. He's been married to a superhero for over 50 years. Our next Spirit Award recipient is the amazing Liz Elliott. Oh, I've got a few more things to say. Liz exemplifies everything that's great you do. It's little things done with great love that make the world go round. Liz has steadfast kindness coupled with a one-of-a-kind, friendly personality that makes all feel welcome around her. She's humble to the core, easily overlooked. Liz quietly went around keeping our campground organized and the start of my boondoggle correct. My earliest memories of Liz was setting up my camper store account. Spent a lot of time in there. She manned the window. Back in the day, $15 would easily get a camper through 2 weeks of snacks and boondoggle. Upon leaving camp, my parents would visit Liz and collect up one of her neatly organized envelopes with what other store money was left. She sometimes did this in the calm space near the green cottage. She knew all of our names. And my mom and dad always loved seeing her on arrival and pickup. Liz was and is always interested in camp people, young and old, campers and staff. When we say the motto, help the other fellow, help means to care. You care, Liz. And that is exactly your way. You've devoted your life to schools, camp, your community, and an amazing family. From here all the way to Baldwinsville. Liz came to camp in 1975 with her son, daughter, and a 1-month-old. Melissa. She remained a fixture at Camp Cory for 22 summers. She was a witness to the biggest change in Camp Cory history. In 1976, the integration of girls at our camp. After completing her tenure in the early 90s, her dedication to Camp Cory has remained steadfast. Her family still attends camp, and Liz has remained a benefactor and continues to support camp as it has grown. On a very personal level, one of the fondest memories I have of Liz is watching her with a huge smile on her face at my wedding with my wife as she danced with Jerry to Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World." And with that, I want to present this Spirit of Cory Award to the wonderful Liz Elliott.
It's okay. You did wonderful. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry. It's like two twin towers.
Where?
Yeah.
Right there, press anything.
Talking here.
Okay. Well, this was a surprise, and unlike everybody else, I had no opportunity to present anything to say. But thank you so much. Cory has been a big part of my life, and every minute of it was a treasure. So thank you so much. All right.
Thank you so much, Liz. Thank you for everything you have done for the camp, and thank you for continuing to send your family to camp. And we have one last award to give, who you may have heard of already tonight.
In the late 90s, sitting on the migrant waterfront, we would sometimes catch a glimpse of the Elliots sailing by, and just wish they would tack to the east and bring us some honey for our ice cream. As a camper, Jerry was legend. It's impossible to overstate the amount of respect, trust, and reverence he commanded. Add to that just the right amount of fear. As staff, there was nothing more you wanted than a thumbs up from Jerry. Surveilling the grounds with Mandy or Duffy, he taught lessons of character, leadership, and integrity, while offering words of encouragement and advice. All of this set the standard for what is the spirit of Quarry. I'm also pretty sure he could lift the Iron Mother all by himself. Presenting the award, one of Jerry's greatest students, Dave Gadoo.
In 1994 was my first summer here at camp, and I'd never been to camp. And Jerry Elliott literally plucked me out of the hallway of the high school and was like, "You want to wash dishes for a summer?" And I was like, "Okay." And so my only experience with summer camps had been the movies Meatballs 1, Meatballs 2, Meatballs 3, Summer Job. So I show up to camp, and the very first night in the dining hall, I'm sitting across from Jerry, and he's telling me about camp and the history, and he gets this like diabolical look in his eyes, and he's like, "And sometimes you'll hear Lake Job Dave, Lake Job Dave, Lake Job Dave," and then everyone like they just surround you, pick you up, and like walk you down the yacht club and throw you off the Y dock. And I was like, "Oh, it's that kind of camp, all right." And I was convinced that this is going to be, and I was 15 years old, that this was going to be the summer of my first beer, my first cigarette, and just like sneaking out every night. And none of that happened. Well, I can say, like 28 years later, I did sneak out, and sneaking out under Jerry's watch was basically like going up to the upper athletic field, lying underneath the stars and like giggling and telling stories for hours on end. There was no alcohol, there was no cigarettes, and you would just lie there. And I was 15 years old. It was the most formative time of my life. And I was lying there with like Liz Whitmore and Kevin Dibble and just these icons that I really wanted to emulate for the rest of my life. And I started thinking about it. I was like, how lucky am I at 15 years old to be spending my summer with these people that are just so accepting and just so wholesome.
Because many 15-year-olds, like, they're lucky if they have 1 or 2 role models, and every summer I had 60. And I started thinking about it, like, how is this the case? And I was like, oh, it's because these people grew up as campers at Camp Cory when Jerry Elliott was the director of Camp Cory. I was like, oh, that does make sense. That makes perfect sense. And you start thinking about Jerry's core tenet was campers first, kids first. And you see that in all his contributions. And you look, in 1976, it was co-ed because that was what was best for the camp. It was time. And more than that, the camp was divided by age, not gender, which was revolutionary at the time. And Jerry had the iron claw and rooted out alcohol and drugs. And it was a long haul, but he did it. And Jerry knew that camp needed to be profoundly transformative for kids. And it needed to be a space where all kids could grow and explore. And that DNA from 47 years ago is still coursing through camp. And it's actually escaped the boundaries of camp because, you know, sometimes you say something or you do something, it kind of changes the trajectory of someone's life for the better. And then those people go out and something they say or something they do changes the lives of others for better. And it is so hard to kind of like figure out like just how far you can reach. But as far as I'm concerned, ground zero was here in 1975. And you've created an army of wholesome, morally centered world changers. And even today, even though your last summer was 1996, you can walk around camp and see the spirit of Jerry Elliott in everything that's here. And so, and I should have said this 28 years ago, Jerry, and I regret not saying it, but there's only one thing that I can say. Late job, Jerry. Late job, Jerry. Late job, Jerry. So on behalf of the roughly billion and a half of people's lives you've touched, this is for you.
David.
David, what do we do? Are you getting in the middle, I think.
Oh, I get in the middle?
Yeah. Maybe take a step this way, I guess.
Oh, this way?
Yeah.
He always tells me what to do.
I learned from the best.
Thank you. Thanks, bud.
Thanks for everything.
Well, you too. Well, how would you like to be last speaker after that array of speakers? They were terrific. I never went to camp as a kid. It never occurred to me really much. My parents never pushed it, and I wasn't in scouts or anything fancy like that. But I grew up in a Norman Rockwell setting. We had swimming holes. It was like ropes to swing off, trees to jump off of, nobody guarding. We did our own thing. We had a great time growing up just by ourselves without much formality. Along about, let's see, 17, I took a job with the Buffalo YMCA camp because I was a swimmer. And swimmers are in demand, as we all know, for waterfront activities. So I started there. And 47 years after that, here I am. Virtually every summer I've been at a camp, having never had it as a kid. And I made up for lost time. It was great. I love the kids. The staff was terrific. You think of the staff that we've been able to corral here and other places I was at. It's a whole ballgame. You can't do anything without those people. And even as good as you may appear to the efforts you've made on behalf of the program and all that, it's the staff that did it all. Nobody, don't tell anybody. I recruited David right out of high school. He's right, pretty much down the hall. And his brother, they used to come to my room in the morning, had their friend there, and they all hang out and buzz around, have a good time till the bell rang. They had to go to homeroom. they talk about the last night TV show and all that. They were big on Seinfeld. I love Seinfeld. They were laughable kids. So they just had a lot of fun. And the Gadoo twins came. And they were particularly sharp kids, you know. They got good grades, and they were personable and kind of good material for camp. A little young, so I had my eye on them, though. Figured, well, next year or two, maybe they make a JC if they take a shine to it. But I needed dishwashers in the spring. So we made the offer, and geez, they jumped right at it. And we haven't been able to get rid of them since. They've been so much fun to have around. In fact, David was director for a while, shortly after being dishwasher, because Michelle's predecessor went out in a flurry back, and in fact, when she came in, Liz and I pretty much had to leave, but we weren't around here for about 10 years, kind of in exile. It was a bad thing. I don't know. I'm not sure why, but we just weren't in Camp Cory. We rolled it all from 1997 when we left. I think 2010 or something. They invited me over here to have a nice evening of remembering days at Camp Cory, and we've been here ever since. Can't get rid of us again. But that was kind of sad. I didn't enjoy that much at all. But David and the guys once in a while show up, and the girls do, to remind us what's going on and so forth. So we kind of had ties with the gang. But the key, as I said at the outset, was getting those kinds of people here. And the recruiting was everything. I would find people at parties, Christmas parties. You know, I was 35, 40 years old. We'd have a Christmas party in the neighborhood or something, and they'd say, well, my daughter's going to Colgate this year, and she's majoring in such and such. I said, really? What does she do for fun? You know, and they said, oh, she likes to run, and she likes that. That sounds like a good camp counselor. Wouldn't you do it? I was good at attending swimming meets to find, and I did a lot of swimming and instructing myself. And one day I had Annie David Kniddle. I'm getting old. David Kniddle's sister. She was helping me run a swim program in Liverpool High School. And in walks David, and I hadn't seen him. I had him as a 7th grader. And I'd seen him around the high school as years proceeded, and we'd say hi and that kind of thing. But I said, Dave, he's picking up his sister. I said, well, what are you doing this summer? I said, well, I just graduated from Ogdensburg, Dave? Plattsburgh. I knew it was up there. And, well, what are you doing? He said, well, I've got nothing going on right now. Is this getting too long? Okay. I used to be in...
Talk as long as you want.
I used to be in local politics, and we can't shut up usually. And then you combine it with being a history teacher for 38 years, you can't shut us up. But anyway, and living with Liz, you got to take your chances and talk when you can. Right? So anyway, Dave walks out on the deck to pick up his sister, and I said, well, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm not doing much anything. And I said, well, how would you like to be a camp counselor? I said, yeah, because I knew he was active in the basketball program in school and all that. So, and I'd had him as a little kid in 7th grade. It was one of my favorite kids. We had a great time. And so Dave came, and I don't think he's ever really left. Mentally anyway, right, Dave? He was our great storyteller. He was known all over Syracuse. They used to have pageants of storytelling, and Dave would be one of the people in it. Am I too long? Okay. But anyway, recruiting was the ongoing experience, and recruiting primarily was from the people who were here. We loved the kids that came here, of course, and we knew who would love to continue coming right on through college, and so we always encouraged them, and they often, when they apply, we were glad to have them. that was probably the lion's share of all the staffing was the children, as has been said earlier by people who are shorter than I am, talking-wise. And so they would come on and want to be a CIT and an LIT and all that. So we've been doing it. That's where they're coming from. How many of you who were on the staff were a camper first? Yikes. The name of the game. How many of you were found by me when you were taking an exam at high school or something? Or walking out to pick up your sister at school? How many came that way? Half a dozen, okay. So anyway, most of you are right out here in cabins now. The future campus, what was well said earlier, is the kids that are here now and coming next year. So it continues, and I'm so proud to have been part of it, and you honor me with your graciousness, and Liz, it's been the hugest part of our lives other than our children, of course. So thank you for everything, and let's keep up the good work and keep it coming. Does it work? Was I talking in this one? Wow. Well, we better start all over again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jerry, Liz, Michelle, and Mark. But thank you all of you for being here. As Jerry pointed out, the amount of people who worked here, who are campers here, is absolutely incredible. But seeing how camp does not treat people differently, whether it's their first year or their 30th year here, and that's such a special thing to be a part of. And so I would like to, one more time, I promise this will be the last time that you hear from the Executive Director, Pat Foster.
When I was 11 years old, I didn't really know what I was doing with my summer. My mom didn't really know what to do with me, and she was a single mother. She didn't know how to pay for any sort of summer enrichment program, and she worked for a guy named Pete Heinrich. And she asked the one question that every Cory alumnus asks, which is, I don't know what to do with my child over the summer. And that's how I got to Camp Cory. My mom did not have a lot of money. And we were able to come here thanks to the generous donations of so many. And it was those decisions that led me on a path that helped me come to this point. And there are so many people in this room that story is very, very common. And, you know, I just want to thank everybody for coming out and everyone who has, you know, helped us to this point with their philanthropic support and with their generous volunteering. And I just want to say thank you for making this place possible for kids like me. So as we, you know, wrap up this fantastic night, which just a round of applause for our co-chairs, Randy and Aaron, for running such a fantastic event. I would encourage you all to stay connected with this place in one way or another, and for so many different ways and for so many different kids, and for years to come, for 100 more years at this place. I hope to see all of you more and more and more. So thank you so much.
Well, and thank you, Pat, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here now and be involved in Camp Cory and the way Camp Cory is so inclusive and welcoming to everyone that wants to be a part of it. And so we have one more speaker. I want to let us know before our last and very important speaker that if you have kids down at the beach party, they're okay. We're going to throw them in the lake, let them fend for themselves, but they're totally fine. And so lastly, we would love to bring up our president and CEO, George Rommel.
Hi. Well, good evening, everybody. And what an honor it is to be here. You know, we waited an extra year for this, right? And look at all of us together under a tent, which was unthinkable, right? And here we are. There is no more powerful program in the entire YMCA system than overnight camping. No question about it. The leadership that's developed out of this, the legacy of leadership, the history of success of children that go to overnight camp is just, it's documented for well over 100 years. The Y started overnight camping in 1885. And it continues in a way. Many, many Y camps went under. And I'm proud to say that my overnight camp experience began in Huntington, Massachusetts at YMCA Camp Norwich in July of 1966. I was 7 years old, and I was hooked. Same fishing pole with the stick and the bread, same announcements cheer, slightly different, but one thing was clear, that the YMCA had found group work as essential. And in my 48-year career of collecting a check from the YMCA, starting with being a camp counselor in 1975 when I graduated from high school, to now, it's just, it's incredible to watch. And I was very proud, not without some speed bumps for sure, that our YMCA has committed itself to our camps in a great way. When I remember coming here in the late 80s, and the discussion at the board level was which of the camps get closed. Unthinkable, right? Camp Cory, most expensive waterfront on Keuka Lake. Let's chop it up. Let's make millions of dollars. I'm a branch executive. I'm 30 years old at the time, and I'm like, what? That just doesn't happen. It just can't happen. It's impossible. So before we start with some things I want to say about leadership, our board of directors, and many of them are here tonight right at this table, helped create this legacy that our camps were sacred. And we're here tonight because of their leadership. Thank you very much. So many of you know that the Harris family bestowed this beautiful piece of property. Bo, you're going to correct me if I'm wrong, right? Harris family in honor of Lawrence Cory. Harris was Alling and Cory, that family. That plaque is right over there, and you can see it. It's a beautiful plaque. We unearthed some bushes to find it, and we were able to host, I think Macy was here today, and Mickey Harris, who passed away recently, I think at 96 years old, was able to see camp and see the legacy they created. The weirdest thing happened to me a week ago. My team went to meet with the town of Canandaigua. And we're building a brand new Y there, and got one of the greatest gifts in our history. And the town wanted to meet with us about what we could do to work together to run day camp programs. And because we're pretty good at that, you know, about 4,000 kids a day, and they want to know how we could help. And they talked about this camp on the shore of the West Lake of Canandaigua, in the midst of some pretty large cottages that are about 8 stories high, and giant castles and all of that. And I knew it. I knew it as something that had a little history to it. It was a YWCA camp. And that YWCA camp went out of business, and the town bought it. And it was the YWCA camp, because you couldn't go to Camp Cory as a girl. That was kind of the answer. Even better, the family that bestowed that gift was named the Gorham family, which also created Camp Gorham for us, our sister camp in the Adirondacks, and some of those folks are here tonight. Yes, thank you. And also, thank you to all the Camp Cory staff who helped this summer. We had a lot of challenges at Gorham. Thank you so much for your help. And Pat, thank you for making that happen. We are one family. But even better, before it was a YWCA camp, it was called Camp Iola. Right, Bo? Camp Iola, the place where Rochester Y began its camp and moved it from there to here. So it's quite possible that next summer, the YMCA of Greater Rochester will be running a day camp on the original grounds of Camp Iola. How cool is that? You know? So, it is about legacy of leadership. I don't know what happened with Rochester, but my Camp Norwich went co-ed in 1968, so you're a little behind. All my counselors were hippies, all of them. In fact, I remember 8 of them getting stuck going to Woodstock. They couldn't get back. The Woodstock, the original one, not the one you just saw on Netflix. But there are some people, and obviously Jerry and Liz, your involvement, Michelle, Mark Dibble, Pat, Blake, what a legacy of leadership. And it is about passing it forward. One of the greatest things when I became the CEO in 1998 was to meet with the old guard of this camp. And it was Frank Hutchins. It was Don Fisher. It was Dick Garrett. It was those people that believed. It was Harry Mangurian. It was those people that believed it. And the Rochester Y had a lot of trouble raising money. And I got a brilliant idea. Why don't we do it for our camps first? So here we are back in 2000, mini recession, raised $6 million for day camps, overnight camps, and that began it. And here we're off. And recently the Hutchins Amphitheater was created. Frank came, who was here when Frank Hutchins spoke to the staff at that staff training? It was unbelievable from a wheelchair, 1932 camper. So that legacy goes on and on and on, and I just think it will continue. And one thing about Camp Cory, it's smaller than a lot of YMCA camps, but its spirit is the size of Saturn. It is unbelievable. How do I know that? I never went to camp here, because my daughter and son did. My daughter's here. Where are you, Emma? We snuck her in at 6. I'm pretty sure it was 6. Close. She took to it. She was here for years and years and years, now a teacher in Buffalo. Worked at Camp Gorham this summer. Ended her career at Camp Cory as the director of special treats and snacks. What kind of job is that? Pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. So this legacy of leadership goes on, and I'm honored to follow those that were nominated tonight. It's great to see. And alumni, thank you. There have been some very difficult times, and we do want your support. And Aaron and the team, thank you for creating that alumni association, because it is important. It really, really, truly is. Mark, I remember that boat, the Spirit of Rochester. It was 1989. Last week, I took some volunteers out on the river, Genesee River, and the Spirit of Rochester is sinking into the ground. It's rusted away, but I remember that night, I remember you speaking, and it was my first summer here in Rochester, and it was a night like this. It was a beautiful, beautiful night, and you said some great things, and congratulations on your Y career, man. You're doing great work. Who knows the name Chief Weldon Hester? Right, Jerry, you do. His wife, Happy, right? World War II, died in wool, you know. These camps were created to train young men to go to war. That's what their function was. That's why those bugles were so prevalent. It was after World War I. The world knew that another war was coming, and the Y responded like it did in the war effort back, raising like $2 billion in the 20s to prepare young men for war. Now it's about character development. Now it's about values. Now it's about group work. And that's the way it should be. What a world that we have this opportunity. My nieces have come here for 10 plus years from Connecticut. They just left. Anna was the waterfront director this summer. So we're, as a family, we're fully vested in that. And Stephanie just moved into UVM today, and there's 3 people in a room that's smaller than what's that hot house you put staff in over here? Right, that place. So it's exciting to see it going. It's exciting to see it grow. If you've not seen the other side of the property, it was the first time in 90 plus years that we were able to grow the footprint of Camp Cory. And what a beautiful legacy. So now there's a day camp. And that day camp peacefully coexists with the overnight camp. It hasn't ruined the spirit of Camp Cory. All it's done is create younger kids who can't wait to grow up to go to Camp Cory later on. And we see it happening more and more and more. And what a great job that they've done in creating and developing that facility. Philanthropy is important. It's part of what great camps can be. And I do encourage you to support Camp Cory in whatever way it's possible. And yes, I will cheerfully take your money. There is a square on here if you'd like to tap your card. Or this little thing has a QR code. For those of you under the age of 50, you will know what that is and know that it works. And you can certainly give to Camp Cory. But there are people here I do want to thank who have given leadership to what was called our Centennial Campaign. And I remember clear as a bell, Mary and Art, you were there, and I think others at this table, at the 95th anniversary, where we sat at that pond and talked about what the future was going to be and how the leadership development of this camp needed to grow. We had 4 old green cabins here, and they literally were falling down. Who lived in those cabins? Yeah. You take pieces of them, please. A few of them burned down. Then we built this beautiful Mangurian Leadership Lodge, right? 32 beds. We thought that was enough. Nope. We outgrew that. Now that's where the youngest kids go. And we created this beautiful leadership village plus the day camp under the leadership of Mark Idland. Thank you, Mark. All the way from Cleveland working for the Y, Megan DeFranco. Thank you, Megan, for your efforts. And my incredible chair of our decade-long comprehensive campaign that raised $82 million, Yuri Kushner. Thank you for being here tonight. So, I know there were a tremendous amount of philanthropy for camp. I do want to call out those that helped support what was a very expensive village around the water, and we're very, very thrilled that many of them are here tonight. First of all, unable to be here, but one of the cabins is the Abby Campbell family. Thank you, Campbells. I'm sure you're on the video. Okay, the Crouch, Pratt, Fairfax, Knopfsinger family representing the Abernathy cabin. Thank you for your support. Oh, we got him, yeah. Are you here? Come on up. All right. I was just told fireworks start at 9, so I have an hour and 20 minutes left, so don't worry. I know they're here, the Fior family. Lisa, Kevin, grandchildren, daughters. Here they come. I'm going to put it in an angle for you. All right, thank you. I know, it's true. All right, and our next corporate board chair, he couldn't be here tonight, but helped build the village as well, and that was David Reedman and Jay Wegman and BRW of Parrington that made all that possible. Thank you so much. Thank you. And before I do the last one, I want to thank Mike Stevens, who's on my team, for his vision in creating that village. Beautiful job, Mike. Thank you. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty cool, and it's a little bit, you know, we have Craig Village, and we have Walmsley, and we have Wells, we have all these beautiful migrant village. It's in keeping with the spirit. We wanted to make it as close to the spirit of camp as we could. But a real special recognition from a group that collectively came together to honor and remember a husband, friend, and beloved Camp Cory counselor, Camp Cory camper and staff member, Tom T.R. Robinson. The Robinson campaign was created with the incredible leadership of his wife, Mary, who is here tonight, longtime camp friend Mark Island. Mark and Mary brought former campers, TR's friends, colleagues, and family to make the dream of remembering TR possible. Mary is with us tonight, as I said, and thanks, Mary, for doing this. I have heard TR described as their hero by his former campers. What a wonderful tribute, and thank you. Come on up, Mary. There's always a personal story about camp, right? I was very sick as an individual. I had kidney disease. And I'm very fortunate that now, almost 2.5 years later, I'm very healthy, having gotten a transplant. You know who was the first person I talked to about that because she was a specialist in it, had no idea she had a Camp Cory connection? Mary Robinson. Thank you, Mary. All right, I'm going to wrap it up, but I also want to give tribute to one more person who I knew before I came to this Y, and she was a force. She was a force, and that was Barbara Fisher, and you guys knew her well. Barb Fisher was the staff member that came in here with the charge of creating both camps to be co-ed, and she did a great job. Barb and I had a lot of arguments together, but we love kids and we love camp. And I just want to, on the record, if you're listening, Barb, thank you so much. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to close with this and give you almost a full hour. How about that? This is my last season doing this. I retire at the end of December. It's been my honor to be part of this YMCA and the legacy of children, campers, staff, and leaders. Our Y has been enriched by the people that have come out of Camp Cory. Our community has been enriched. This is our #1 staff recruitment tool, the people that have gone through this camp, and I mean it. It's unbelievable how much our Y has been populated by Camp Cory leaders. They're all over the place. So thank you, all the generations who did that. Thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna read you a poem that's near and dear to my heart. Yuri, you heard it on Wednesday, so you just have to bear with it. Because anytime a camp season ends, where we have a safe, fun summer, I remember this. And Pat, I think I gave you this textbook to carry on because I'm not taking them with me to Florida. You may think, my dear, when you grow quite old, you have left camp days behind. But I know the scent of wood smoke will always call to mind little fires at twilight and trails you used to find. You may think someday you have quite grown up and feel so worldly wise, but suddenly out of the past, a vision will arise of merry folk with brown bare knees and laughter in their eyes. You may live in a house built to your taste in the nicest part of town, but someday you'd trade for your old camp clothes, you'd change your latest gown. You'd trade it in for a balsam bed where stars all night look down. You may find yourself grown wealthy, have all that gold can buy, but you toss aside a fortune for days beneath an open sky. with sunlight and blue water and white clouds sailing by. For once you have been a camper, then something has come to stay deep in your heart forever, which nothing can take away. And heaven can only be heaven with a camp in which to play. Thank you for protecting the legacy of this camp. Here's to the next 100 years.
Thank you so much, George. Thank you for your service to not only the YMCA, but to specifically the overnight camps and Camp Quarry. Thank you, all of you, for coming here tonight. As George mentioned, it sounds like he's okay taking money, but you can also give back in a lot of ways. Come and stay in our alumni cabin. It's gorgeous. Send your kids here. Join the Alumni Association. We want to see you more than every 100 years. So thank you so much for coming here. The bar will be open until 8 o'clock, and down under the pavilion, there's also dessert. 8:30. Oh, thanks, Pat. The bar will be open till 8:30. There's also dessert under the pavilion. Go get your sweatshirts. The fireworks are down at the junior waterfront at 9 o'clock. And thank you for continuing the legacy of Camp Cory.